So this is my macro calculator app. The initial goal was to create a specialized calculator for fitness buffs and dieters and people just trying to be healthy that would allow them to calculate the appropriate macronutrients for their goals, so carbs, proteins, and fats, along with the right number of calories for their specific age, weight, height, all the different factors that would affect that. In the user testing, and also it would allow them to select different goals because the calorie range as well as the macronutrient percentages will change depending on their goals. So the goals were maintenance, weight loss, building muscle, or competition prep. So bodybuilding competitions. The user tests affected the final app design a lot. So with each user test, there's a lot of refining that went in where I would have to come back and edit the design. Frequently, the design portions that really needed to be modified were the labeling, which on the profile page got a little overwhelming. And then, so trying to cut back on the contents on the page while still making sure that the flow of the app made sense and that the user was able to develop a valid mental model of how to use the system, as well as creating, which also tied into the mapping, and then also trying to make it simple, easy to use, easy to learn, and not overwhelming in the number of pages and functionalities that it had. In the end, the design ended up being really fluid, easy to use. People really appreciated it, and they also thought that it was nice that there were only a few pages and they're not feeling like they're being thrown around too much. So yeah, that's pretty much kind of the research in a nutshell. You can look at the process book and that'll explain it a lot more in depth because I've got everything listed out there. So this is the loading page. Normally I have this set so the prototype to only stay here for a few seconds before it transitions. So I'm going to set this now back to the, there we go, preview mode. Okay. So you'll notice that now I transitioned to the first opening page. This is a screen that the user will see when they initially open up the app. They've never used it before, all those sorts of things. So you'll notice the prompt right up here that's telling the user, hey, we can't actually calculate your calories until you've modified your profile. So we're going to modify their profile here. And you'll notice US and metric up here, which will change these values down here. And that will affect the calculations as well as it's just going to depend on the user. There are a lot of Europeans, well, okay, anyone besides being in the US, right? So, I mean, we're in the US, so I'm going to select US, and then all these change accordingly. So now, just kind of in order, these all work as well, but we'll just go over those later. This will return you back to the macro page, the one that we were just on. Right now, it'll give you nothing, and this will drop down the user's goals, but we're going to do that later. So first, the user wants to enter in their age. They select that. Okay, now they've entered. And then we can either hit return or we can select the weight right here. Let's select weight just for fun. We're going to go straight to it. Aha, now the user is also selected in their weight. And then for this one, we'll return just to show you that both of them work. Because now they need to enter in their height. So we're going to say return. And then the user's going to select here and voila. So now the user's entered this. And now you'll notice down here, I took out the label for gender actually because the signs are universal. And so that's something that it makes it a little bit nicer for foreign users. Overall, trying to cut down on the labeling as well over on this side. So then the form just feels a little less overwhelming and more simple, more iPhone-like, right? So then we can either hit return or here. Let's do return, why not? Be consistent. All right. Then we're going to change the gender. All right, there we go. So now we're male. And then now we can select activity to change it. We've selected moderate and that'll reflect here. Now the user can click anywhere up here to go back to this page. So we're going to do that now. Aha, see? Now body fat percentage is optional and that little hint helps out there. So we're not going to worry about that for this one. And then we're going to go, okay, so goal. The user can either select here or up here. Because I'm going to walk you through this one later, we're going to do this one. So we selected that. Aha, okay. So now we see this overlay page is what this is. So it's not directing the user to a new page, but it's just an overlay. And let's say we want to build muscle. Okay. And you notice that this icon changes colors as well accordingly. And then, all right, we're all done. So the user also has a choice between clicking here and going back to view their profile before they go to the macronutrients page, or here. So just to show you that it works, we're going to go here, and you'll notice that down here is changed. Now they can select done to go back to the macronutrients page, or they can select this one. Let's select done. Ta-da! And now you can see that this portion has completely changed. And that's just a simple walkthrough of the app. Yeah, and that's my macro calculator. Looks like I'm out of time.